The equipment you see on the monitor is a TopWatch SX monitor. It's a neuromuscular monitor. It can be used as a nerve stimulator, neuromuscular monitor, and also it can be used to provide train of 4. It can provide a single train of 4 or it can produce continuous multiples of train of 4. It can also provide post-tetanic count. Post-tetanic count is important when the patient is sufficiently deeply blocked. As a clinician monitoring the nerve blockade, it is necessary to know the knobs of the neuromuscular monitor. It is also vital to understand the connection of the monitor, the cables, the placement of the leads and their connection, position of the fingers, position of the arm, etc. during the use of the neuromuscular monitoring. These will be demonstrated a little later with the help of the video. In order to optimally utilize the TopWatch monitor, we need to understand the buttons that are there on the TopWatch monitor. Each of the buttons have dual function. When they are pressed for a short duration of time, which is about 1 second, it activates a particular function which is displayed in bright gray color. When it is pressed for long duration of time, the secondary action of the same button is activated. For example, if the TOF is pressed for a short time, it gives one cycle of train of 4. If the same button is kept pressed for a long time, it activates a series of train of 4s which are activated once in 15 seconds. The button here is the one which turns the monitor on or off. A short press on this button, which is about 1 second, stops whatever function is on play. For example, if TOF is being used, a press on this for a second will stop the TOF or clears the display. A long press of the same button puts the monitor off. In order to turn the monitor on, yet another long press on the button will switch the monitor on. The button here is the secondary button. If we press this and subsequently press the TOF button, the activation of the TOF in series, which is in light gray behind, will be activated. By pressing the secondary button and the TOF, we can activate the series which can be programmed. The duration of the TOF may be set to repeat once in half an hour or 45 minutes as may be required in the intensive care units. A press of this will initiate post-tetanic count. As you know, post-tetanic count can be initiated only when the TOF reading is 0. In order to provide very deep blocks, we need to provide a block where the post-tetanic counts are also 0. The next button on the equipment is the calibration button. We know that the resistance of skin of various patients are different. The differing resistance may offer differing currents to the patients and the misinterpretation of results may occur. In order to avoid this, every time TopWatch is used, it has to be calibrated. A long press of this button leads on to adjustment of 100% twitch height. After adjusting the 100% twitch height, it returns to the basal. It is important to use this when we are dealing with special patients such as neonates or obese patients or elderly patients. We come to the next button. This is the button which shows MA, which is milliamps, or micro C, which is microcoulombs. This button has an upward arrow and downward arrow. Pressing this button upward results in increasing the milliamperes and it delivers more current. Decreasing, on the other hand, decreases the amount of current delivered. Yet another function of the same set of buttons is that when they are pressed simultaneously together, a menu opens which can be used to set the calibration. This is not routinely required, however, it is better to be aware of this function. The next button on the monitor is marked C. This is the button for temperature checking. It is important to know the skin temperature of the patient when the monitor is used. If the temperature is low, there is a probability of the monitor malfunction. It is important to ascertain that the temperature is normal. The temperature can be read in centigrades or Fahrenheit. Whenever the probe is connected to the monitor and the sensor is placed on the skin of the patient, the display can be obtained. If it is not connected either to the monitor or to the patient, the skin reading cannot be obtained. A separate alarm is displayed showing that the temperature sensor is not connected to the patient. This monitor is programmed to deliver an alarm if the skin temperature is below 32 degrees centigrade. And if the temperature is below 32 degrees, an alarm flashes on the monitor display of the equipment. When the alarm is flashing, pressing the button C will cease the alarm temporarily. This is the TOF button which you are already familiar with. It has dual functions. A short press for about a second initiates an on-demand train of 4. This is used when you do not want a series of repetitive train of 4. If you want repetitive train of 4, the same button is pressed for longer duration of time. The secondary activity of the same button is activated and a repetitive train of 4 starts, and each cycle lasts for 15 seconds. When the monitor is on the top right corner of the monitor, you have a timer which counts down, and when it reaches 0, the train of 4 stimulation starts. This is to aid when the next expected train of 4 is due. When the train of 4 is programmed for half an hour or later, this monitor comes in handy. You can be there to watch the response of train of 4 when the train of 4 stimulus is delivered. The video demonstration of train of 4 will clearly demonstrate to you the various intricate details of train of 4. However, I shall mention to you brief aspects of train of 4. The initial stages of initiation of neuromuscular block. When the blockade is occurring, the response of TOF is shown as in percentage. That is the percentage of the last to the first stimulus. For example, if there is no block, it will show 100%, and if there is a 50% block, it will show 50%. With the block getting deeper, and when the responses are less than 4, or when the first response is less than 20%, the number of twitch response to the train of 4 will only be displayed. Initially it will be 4, and then it will become 3, and subsequently becomes 0. When it becomes 0, it is that time when you can initiate the post-tetanic count. Till the train of 4 reaches 0, post-tetanic count cannot be activated. To activate post-tetanic count, one has to keep the patient deeply anesthetized because it is a painful stimulus. The TOF watch also automatically precludes the use of TOF within 12 seconds after its use. Similar safety margins have been provided for double burst stimulation and post-tetanic count also. This is allowed to allow recuperation of the acetylcholine levels so that we get an appropriate response which is relevant to the patient's condition. The other button that we see is the button which sets the range of stimulation. When this is pressed for a brief time, that is about a second, one response at 1 Hz is given. If it is pressed for longer duration of time, it gives repetitive response at 1 Hz. If the same button is pressed after pressing the secondary button, then that response range can be programmed from 0.1 Hz to 1 Hz. The practical points about train of 4 and PTC or post-tetanic count. Most normal surgeries can be undertaken when train of 4 reads 1 or 2 or 0. That itself is sufficiently deep to conduct most surgeries. However, ophthalmic and neurosurgeries wherein even small movement is not permissible requires very deep blockade. Deep blockade can be assessed by post-tetanic count. The post-tetanic count mode can be activated only if the train of 4 count is 0. Now we will see how PTC can be used. Of course, you will see this clearly in the video demonstration. However, I shall mention briefly that when the PTC button is pressed once, 15 stimuli at a frequency of 1 Hz are delivered. Most of the time, if the block is not deep enough, we can see the number of movements. Post-tetanic count stimulation happens as follows. 15 stimuli at 1 Hz frequency are delivered. If there is no response, a further 5-second 50 Hz stimulus is delivered. Following a 3-second pause, 15 more stimuli are delivered and a count is made. If the count at the end of these 15 deliveries is 0, it suggests that the block is very deep. I may suggest here that such deep blocks are routinely not required. During the video, take time to observe that the letters PTC appearing on the monitor and a flash appearing at the right corner of the screen indicating that the PTC is being delivered. After it is being delivered, the number of counts which are measured will appear on display. If 15 counts appear, then it is reasonably deep block but not very deep. If the count is 0, then the block is very deep. When the monitor is switched on, when no electrodes, sensors are connected, or when the temperature probe is not connected, you will see monitor flashing like this. You can see that the sensor is not connected, the needle electrode is not connected, and the temperature is not connected. You can see display like this. If they do flash when the monitor is connected to the patient, please call the service engineer and get the rectification done.